What is going on? Happy Wednesday. Art Eddy here for the lunch break here at Life of Dad on our Facebook page. With me, of course, my homie, the point guard to me being the shooting guard, Jon Finkel. What's up, dude?
Okay, listen, I'm not a great dribbler, but I'll take that. I mean, I will still chuck shots. So don't think just because you're the two, I'm just gonna sit back and let you just heave 50 shots a game. Like,
all right, switch it. Hold on. I'm calling a 20-second timeout. Let's regroup. We'll have Brad Stevens in the huddle because we both like him as a coach.
Yeah.
Even you're a Celtics fan. I'm kind of a Bulls/Spurs fan. We'll get into that later in life. But I like Brad Stevens, so he'll be like, all right, you're running the point. John run the two. So we're good. We're good right there.
Okay, now I can just chuck away, and now you'll be like, I'm the point guard. How come I'm not even? You're never passing it back to me. I'm like, that's what I do. Yeah, it's my thing.
Love it. All right. Today we are doing, I know everybody probably and their mother who, has a show, whatever, is doing something March Madness, but we're doing Parent Pandemonium. We're doing things in brackets from tantrums to tech time to he did it, she's touching me, all of these things. We're going to go into that. Please leave comments and all that, because not only are you going to have a chance to share what you're, talking about and what you think would be maybe the final four of parenting. Could be good, could be bad, could be whatever. This is Life of Dad. We're going to be sharing everything. But John and I are going to select a winner to win this movie John and I are both fans of. I got a copy to give away, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It came out on Blu-ray and DVD this yesterday. You can get a copy of this. And if we like, if we like your comment, we might have a chance you guys to win it. You can always email me, art@lifeofdad.com to enter to win. But thanks for our good friends for hooking this up with us. It's from Columbia Pictures, Sony Animation Pictures, and of course Marvel. So thanks very much for that. Let me ask you, man. We had a lot of people on. I posted something on Facebook earlier, and some people were talking about asking your kid to. Drew McCaleb says $10 on his bracket for co-sleeping, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Thomas says paying money, new toys just to watch your kid pick up a tablet and watch Little Susie or Jimmy play with theirs on YouTube. We'll go into more, but what do you think about those so far, man?
I like those. I think so I took this maybe a little literally, and I created 4 brackets of they always have the East, South, whatever. So I actually made brackets, and so the way I bracketed them was more along the lines of okay, so we've got the kinds of things that would happen that cause parent pandemonium. So you've got tantrums, you've got messes and spills. Is tantrum is one bracket. It could be anything. You got messes and spills and problems there. Then you've got the chores / cleaning stuff down here. And then on the bottom one is what he just alluded to, sibling fights and sibling rivalries and stuff like that. And then at each of those, I have a 1 through 4 seed. So I have a 16 seed bracket here that we can figure out, which would be the winner would be the most annoying parent pandemonium causing thing that we do.
You come prepared every time, man. I love it.
Yeah. And so Kingbird writes in, the worst place for a kid to throw their tantrums at their own birthday party. I have seeds 1 through 5 on the tantrum, so we can see how people want to go through it, or how you want to go through the brackets. We got a lot of discussion about tantrums, so we can start there. I have 5 seeds in the tantrum category. If you want to start, you can either agree, disagree, or how do you want to do it?
I will agree or disagree. Yeah, we can go through that. So go ahead, man.
All right, number 5. The number 5. So the number 5 seed in the tantrum bracket of the 5th worst place to throw it for me is when you're coaching a team and the kid that you're coaching, your son's team, and your son has a tantrum. So these are all places, the tantrums ranking of tantrums. When they have a tantrum and you're on the, it's not, and you're not coaching, you just go out and you get your kid. It's not that big of a deal, which happens all the time for, 6 and under kids. But if you're the head coach and you're responsible technically on the field for, if it's baseball, 9 or 10 other kids that are there, or the dugout, and your kid's having a tantrum, you can't, maybe your spouse is there to help out, but sometimes you're just your kid's having a tantrum and they're not even, you're responsible for 10 other kids. So to me, that would be number 5. How do you feel about that?
Yes, I like that. I haven't coached them. Well, I've coached them, but thankfully they've never had a tantrum during a thing. So during whether it's practice or a game. Actually, while I say that, I just remembered. So when my wife is traveling and I'm coaching my oldest daughter's basketball team, I remember my youngest was ticked off because sometimes we let her play in scrimmages, but everybody in the team came and we were prepping up for our final game and she couldn't play and she got all mad and she was like on the ground. I'm like, this is not the time nor the place. You got to stop doing it. Patrick says, worst place for a tantrum. This is so true. This is on one of my lists on my seeds is a church or school function where all the good parents judge. You get the side eye, man.
Yeah, that actually is my number 4. So perfectly timed comment, Patrick. My number 4 is at, we can put all these in there, but these are at specific events that you have to attend as a family. So school function, church function, maybe it's a family member's birthday, anything where you're supposed to be there and kind of best behavior is a little bit assumed. That is my number 4 in the tantrum category. Yes.
Oh, yeah, so true. We got something really good right here, though. Joseph says pooping in the bathtub versus pooping the pants and underwear. So
yes.
True. Like that's what I think the number 1 seed, like out of just
bodily fluid category.
That one, like the pooping, like that's the number 1 seed. Pooping in the pants and underwear. That's going to happen, especially when you're potty training and all that. But the bathtub, man, that just makes everything worse, especially once your kid, if your kid went through the whole bath and all of a sudden they drop number 2 and you're like, all right, great. Now where do we go from here?
Yeah, that's the worst. All right. So number 3 is anytime you're shopping. Pretty much anytime you need to go somewhere and you have any item anywhere, it doesn't matter if it's a grocery store, you're getting a pair of cleats for their soccer, whatever it is, if you're carrying items on the way out, and that's when they have it. For some reason, as a parent, at least for me, even if they have a tantrum walking into the store or while you're doing something, it seems like you just kind of roll with it. But if they have it like right when you get in line to buy, and that's when you're kind of bottlenecked and there's other parents and other people around, it's just hell, man. It's a worse scenario because you can't go anywhere. You also don't want to get out of line because it makes everything longer. You're in close proximity to a lot of people. So for number 3, that's my number 3. It's the end of the shopping tantrum that just drives me crazy.
Yeah, so true because you, like you said, it's not like a car ride or like a family trip where it's like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Like, how much do we have to go? Are we almost done yet? Are we done yet? Can we go? It's like, you see, we're in the middle of the store. We still got ways to go, right? And then they're like, can you buy me this? Can you buy me this? It's like, so there's so much frustration that leads up to that point where both you and the kid are just mentally frustrated. Like, forget this. Kelly Clark, again, he's got another good one. You guys are bringing it. I love it. You're all number 1 seeds in our book today, by the way. At the in-laws' house, the worst place for the meltdown, because again, just kind of like the church or school, it's like people are gonna be judging, and what's worse than your in-laws judging? Like, oh, look at the way Kelly's running that, huh? His kids are
obviously can't handle the tantrums. Yeah, it's definitely up there. We can put that in the event one. The number 2 is the tantrum when they're dressed up. So it's different than the event tantrum, which is like you're at a school function or a church or whatever. The tantrum when like you have to put your kid in a suit or a tie or a dress or whatever it is, like even if it's just a school picture, but for some reason when they lose their minds and they have a nicer outfit on, I don't know why, but you look at them and they always look a little older when they're dressed up, and you spend some time doing their hair maybe more than extra, or they're tucked in. It kind of just bugs you. It just bugs you more because the effort you put in for how them to look.
So true. And I feel like immediately, like if they put on a nicely ironed dress or suit or whatever the case may be, whatever they're wearing, it's like all of a sudden like everything gets more wrinkly and everything gets more dirty because they're like upset, and like something that if they're wearing like shorts and a t-shirt and they were ticked off, kicking dirt around may be one thing, but if they're kicking dirt around and like they're in their nice shoes, all of a sudden everything gets scuffed up. That one of my things in my brackets is, especially when you buy a new pair of sneakers or shoes or boots or whatever the case may be, the kids, the way they're walking, like they're scuffing their shoes, like we just bought you these. Like, what are you doing?
I've always said this weekend his shoes were all torn up and he wanted a new pair, so we got him this. It's a really cool. Like, he's huge into dinosaurs. I found these pair of Nikes just at like Dick's Sporting Goods or whatever that are like, they look like dino scale type of shoes. They're like green. And leaving the store, dude, kid walks out and there is like somebody was like hosing down a bunch of like stuff that they have on display outside, and of course there's a puddle in the street. 2 feet jump like right into it. Right foot completely covered in gravel and mud. We had been out of the store for 7 seconds. And he's like, what? They're dino scale, blah, blah, blah. He's 6 years old. And, you just look at him like, what the hell would you do that for?
That's in the this is why we don't have things bracket.
Yeah. So my number
don't have nice things. Quickly, Daniel Ortiz says, can we ask questions now or are they pre-selected? Go ahead. Feel free to ask away
questions. I just have a list of brackets. These are to start the conversation. So I actually have 1A and 1 for the plot to finish out the tantrum. Yes. That's a big one. I didn't have that in there, Adrian, but that is huge. When they have a
tantrum, had that too. Rand had the same thing. When it's
all right, Rand and Adrian, I left that off. You guys are right. The tantrum in the waiting room is just miserable because there's sick kids, there's healthy kids waiting for their physical, and your kid's going nuts. Everyone's looking at you, and all you're doing is waiting. Like, you can't do anything. You can't go outside because you don't want to miss a call you. Then you end up getting put in a smaller room with them while you wait for the doctor, usually, where you would rather be anywhere else on earth but stuck there dealing with the kids. So 100% there.
Rand said the same thing, but he's like, it's even worse when the appointment's for you and not your kid. Like, if your kid's got to come with you because maybe the wife's traveling or whatever, that's the worst because like they're not even there. You don't know, like if you're there for a cold or something or blood, whatever the case may be, you're still like, oh, I got to deal with this. Now the kid, so totally.
Yeah, that's brutal. So 1A is when you're either getting into or getting out of the car. This is like, there's something about the idea of you have to, when this is usually still at their age when they, you need to kind of strap them into their car seat or put them into a car seat, or even if you're in a booster seat and they're having a tantrum, like when they won't get in the car and you're kind of doing that like half chase, like within 10 feet of your car, but they're like twisting and turning and collapsing on the pavement. And then on the flip side, when you have to get them out and they like roll into the middle seat or like try to climb in the back or like hug themselves under the seat, like,
or they do this, like when you try and put them in the seat, they're like,
dude, you can't control your rage. Like, a lot of times what I used to do is just, if they were already in the car, I would just shut the door and be like, I'd shut it and just walk away. Like, there's nothing good. I have to like manhandle you out of the car. And then of course, number one, I think everybody would agree, no matter what, puts all these to shame is the tantrum on an airplane when you've already taken off and there is just nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. You're stuck. Everybody's judging you. Everybody hates you. Your kid won't stop. And you're the person that everyone on the plane, just no matter how regular people, nice people they are, for those brief moments, it could be a half hour, an hour, maybe a couple minutes, they hate your guts.
Yeah.
And they don't hate you kids. They don't hate you. They probably don't want any ill will. But the 10 people who are in the seats in front of you and next to you and behind you just hate you. And you can feel their hatred. And there's nothing you can do. You just have to sit there and have it suck it up that everything sucks for you right now.
So true. Yeah. So tantrums is like one of the bracket, like is the East bracket, and they have their own thing. Yeah. Sean Kingbird says at school conferences, you have that one kid who's getting praised for good behavior and responsibility, yet your toddler's on the ground next to you going nuts. So true. Our boy Kelly says, my son would turn into Frankenstein getting into the car seat. Like, thankfully my kids don't have any car seats anymore. Oh, I think my youngest has got like a booster in one of the cars. And now the struggle is real for my oldest to see, like, can I sit in the front now? I'm like, I look at the regulations. I'm like, one more year, and like, well, if someone else is doing it. I'm like, this is another bracket for me where I hear this all the time. Other parents let their friend, like my friends, do this. I'm like, great. That's not. And that bracket alone goes into what they put in their lunches for school, sitting in the front seat.
The technology they get.
Yeah, technology. Phone, especially phones. Like so-and-so in third grade's got a phone. Like, great for them. Good. Awesome. Dude. What type of shows so-and-so is watching, and what, that goes in the same thing as video games. Yeah. So the bracket of, other parents, like, great. And you all of a sudden you sound like, we did a dad cliche, show one time where it was like, just because so-and-so, would you jump off a bridge just because they are? And like, you're my kid. It's totally different. You bring all these cliches. You're like, what the hell am I doing?
You know what's funny? Like, of all of those, like the show one you can handle. For some reason, it's the ones that become visible, like the lunch ones where it's like they get a Reese's peanut butter cup every day for lunch. And it's like, great. They're going to be fat. Like, what are you supposed to say? Like, you can't say anything nice or mean about their friends. And then the one that's the toughest one is obviously the phone one is such a big one. My daughter's in second grade, and there's like 2 kids in her class who have a phone. And at least once a week, she's like, oh, so-and-so has a phone. And I want to be like, I've thought twice about just emailing the parents and be like, dude, what are you doing? Like, no judgment. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just between me and you. Why the hell does your second grade have a phone? You know, every other kid in the class thinks that they should have one now too. And unless there's like a really strong reason why your kid needs to have a phone in the brief time, and the teachers had a problem with it, having the kid put it away, and it rings sometimes so they don't turn it off. Like, yeah, that is a huge bracket. We can probably have a separate discussion of the other parents who are doing the show, but that's a big one. So the next bracket I had to keep the conversation going, moving from tantrums. This one is to spilling and making giant messes of things. Like,
hold on, right here. Joseph says, "Go ask to live with them."
yeah. You love their phone so much, go live with them. The reason they have a phone, yeah. The problem is, just to go on a small tangent, is you can't say too many negative things because you know your kid's going to walk into school and be like, the only reason you have a phone is because your parents don't want to talk to you. My dad said they just want you to have a phone and leave them alone. Like, you can't say that. Or like, the reason you have junk food is because your parents don't care if you're eating unhealthy food. Like, you can't say that, but that's really what you're thinking is like, the reason they had a Cadbury egg every day in their lunch since they came out is because their parents don't care or don't want to say no to them in the morning, and that's that.
So true. Kelly says, my 7-year-old wants a phone, so he knows the struggle is real.
Kelly, my daughter's 7. She wants it too. I've said no for 6 months now.
Quickly, we're going to take – it's almost like halftime, even though we're kind of going towards the fourth quarter in our show, so to speak. But Daniel Ortiz says, so I got a 12-year-old stepson, pretty much raised him my whole life. Long story short, he's recently had major attitude. Tell him to do something, and he pretty much says he will do it when it is on his time. One thing I hate is disrespect. He'll only listen once and then lose it. What are some ways to deal with it? Here's my, he's my first at this age. The other 2 are babies, so advice would be great in the future. All right. Again, the bracket of this is part of like the bracket where you're kind of like other parents telling you what to do. We're going to flip the script and give you a little, like John and I can give you some advice. Again, we're not trained professionals. We're just dads, and we're even playing one on TV right now. But this is like the coach's corner right here of the tournament. I would say this, like at that age, my daughter's 11. There's certain things that she wants to push her boundaries in and see what she can do. And especially my youngest is watching, so she's trying to do things like that as well. Biggest thing is just have like a sit down, like especially with your case, Daniel, have a man-to-man conversation. Talk to him what's going on with him from your perspective, and ask him what's going on with him. Like, hey, why are you kind of acting this way? I know you've kind of had changed your attitude recently. How can we talk about this? And, kind of go into the fact that, like, I still want respect. I still want this. If there's an issue you want to talk about, let's sit down and talk about it. If there's something you're not feeling that I'm doing, do it in a respectful way. We'll see what happens. Coach, I'm going to throw it off to you now.
My kids aren't teenagers yet, but I was very close with my nephews and nieces when they were. And I think one of the biggest things is the two-way street conversation, like you just said, which is, look, you're a growing man or a growing woman, young man, young woman, you're 12, 13, 14. I get you have all these feelings. I had them too. But the best way to get what you want and to move forward and whatever it is I respect you, you respect me. If I ask you to do something and you do it without an attitude, there's a very good chance that when you ask to do something that maybe you haven't done before, I will then say yes, because you've proven to be responsible and respectful. However, if when I say do something, you're continually saying no, why then would I say yes if you ask me to do something or take you somewhere or try someone new or trust you to do something? So again, this is the conversation I used to have with my nieces and nephews when we were trying to do stuff and they'd want me to do something and, they'd come over and act, like they were hard asses or whatever. But I think that is kind of the best path. And it's what I remember vaguely working for me as a kid when everybody tries to push boundaries and all that kind of stuff. But I think you're right.
Keys to the Game brought to you by John and Art.
yeah, exactly. Keys to the game.
And so just kind of going with the phone thing, as people are popping up, earn it and get a job. Kingbird says, as for my kids and phones, they are 13 and 14. They have phones, boy and a girl. They play sports year-round, traveling teams, 2 separate locations a lot. You have to be 2 places at once. Safety is one of the main reasons. At some point, it just makes sense. My 9-year-old, you have a tablet. Same thing. Like my kids have a tablet. They have fun. They kind of, chat with their friends via FaceTime, just making sure that who you chat with, they can only chat with people that that they have contacts with. So kind of cool. And then Joseph says, remind them that they have 0 leverage.
I always like to do that occasionally. Like with the things that kids don't want to do, like my kids, sometimes like they'll take their new shoes or like they'll throw them and they'll put them somewhere where they don't have them or whatever. Or they'll lose them. Like I'll know my kid will take his shoes off like in the family room when he's not supposed to instead of leaving by the door. And my move every now and then is to just hide them I'll just put them in my closet, like way up. And then next time they're going out, it's like, where are my shoes? And I won't say a word. I'll just let them, I won't say anything. And you let them just freak out. Cause I'm like, it's usually going to their friend's house or something. And they're like, I can't go, I don't have my shoes. It's like, I don't know where they are. They're my shoes. And I kind of just let that play out. Sometimes I'll just let it play out for way too long. And then I'll be like, you want to remember to what Joe's saying, like, you have no leverage. Like, if you lost these, you can't go buy new shoes for yourself. You got nothing. So you either need to find them and start putting them where they belong, or you need to ask me to get you new shoes. And usually stuff like that tends to work with shoes and jackets and eventually with a phone. But you do have to remind them sometimes that they actually have no ability to do this stuff on their own. I agree.
Nice. Daniel, you're very welcome. Again, not that we're trained professionals in parent psychology, but kids relationships. But we're parents, and this is what we do here at Life with Dad. Everybody, you feel free to weigh in and help Daniel out. Keep on calling him David Ortiz, Big Poppy. Keep on wanting to have that. But yeah, so I'm glad we can help you out. All right, you want to wrap up some of the other parts of your
I'll do a quick breakdown of some of the ones, and everybody can jump in on whether they agree, disagree, whatever. But on the big one of making messes and spilling in terms of the bracket. So making a mess like in the bathroom is a 4 seed. It's not crazy because it's usually the tile can't be spilled on or whatever. It's not that big of a deal. Spilling something, like for me, it always used to matter. Like sometimes my kid will drink water in bed, or they'll bring whatever. When they spill something in bed and it gets to a mattress, like that's when it's just such a pain. Like it's a next level because now you're changing sheets, you're changing the mattress sheet, or you can make them sleep in it if it's wet, I guess. But like in terms of making messes, a 3 seed is the bed. 2 seed to me is a car, like when they just wreck your back seat and like you have to move all the car seats out or the booster seats out, and you got to vacuum behind the little crevices. Like that's a pain. And the number one in terms of making messes is always like, for some reason, when kids spill, like they make a huge spill on carpet. Like it just, even if the carpet is treated for kids, which I'm sure everybody watching has carpet that's ready for kids or can handle kids, but when it's a big spill and you're like, now that you're old enough and you've had kids for a little while, for those of us who have, and they're like, oh, I spilled it doesn't have to be even grape juice, just whatever, apple juice, iced tea, lemonade on a carpet, and it's an area this big, and you're just thinking like, the next 15 minutes of my life, I'm on my hands and knees trying to get this out with like resolve. It just sucks. It's a time suck. And it was usually, most of the time, I'm guessing, for the parents watching this, entirely preventable. It was something you said don't do 11 times, and that's the end of it. It's like, and you're not going to clean it up. Like you make them try to do it, but they do such a half-assed job that you're going to have to do it anyway. So you can be like, go get the paper towels and go get the resolve, and it's your thing. And within 3 minutes of watching, you're just like, this is going to be 4 hours of my life. It could be 20. Go to your room.
Seriously.
That's my number 1 seed with messes. What do you think of that list?
No, yeah, totally true. Because they're always like, well, why can't I bring this on the couch? No, like for some reason they have desks in their room. We have like a kitchen table that's kind of like, after a while, it's like probably need an upgrade. But no, I'm not doing that until they get a little bit older, or when they get out of the house. Then we'll get a new dining room table, and then we'll probably downsize and sell it anyway. So who knows? But I love when they try and bring out like markers, like on the couch, even though it's like a dark color. I'm like, what are you doing? Like you've got stuff all around it. Like I as a kid, I never really wanted to draw or color on like a soft cushion, because I'm like, it's not going anywhere. But they have these markers. I'm like, no, that's not going to happen. I got to give a shout out to Bradley, because he said this earlier when we first started the show. In his bracket, spilling Legos all over the carpet floor. Oh. So true, because depending on like the thickness of that carpet, and if you have pets, you're gonna find some Legos in some weird places after the cats.
Legos almost need its own bracket of like, the worst things with Legos is when like opening the box immediately, when you tell them like, let's open it little packet by packet, and you like maybe tell them we'll do it later, and they start getting it ready, and then the 6 packets that are numbered easily are all of a sudden all open. Like that's a number. That might be a number 1 seed. Obviously, then the floor, because you step on them, is a good one. There's so many of these. So this one, real quick to touch upon it before we have to go, is the sibling fights one we were talking about. The number 1 like seed of sibling fights. Obviously, any of the ones in public, but for some reason when they have a fight, like at either one of something for them, so like if it's a parent-teacher night, or you have to bring both of them, or one of those things where it's like open house at school, and you have to bring both of them to each other's rooms. Like for some reason when they're fighting in each other's domain, it just feels wrong. It's like, this is your brother's classroom. Can't you just be good for his classroom like he was good in yours? Or like, you know, at their birthday parties or a friend's birthday party where you kind of have to bring the other kid because maybe, you know, you don't match up or your wife's away or whatever. Like, and your daughter, who's not even supposed to be there, is fighting with your son, who it's like, it's his thing to enjoy.
Be here today.
Yeah. It's like, you know, you'll email him like, hey, my schedules aren't matching up. I have to bring my daughter to this party. Do you mind? And everybody's always cool with it. And then your son's the one fighting with them, and you're like, this can't you just be good for like an hour? So those are my seeds for that.
Love them, man. You always bring your A game. I love it. That's why you're always in the top Final Four every year. Kelly Clark says, hello, my son colored his face with a green highlighter once. And we're talking about Legos and crayons and all other stuff. Kingbird says, my son got $100 and spent it at a Lego and Crayola store. We have a lifetime supply of both. Great. Nice. The smell of nightmares. I think hashtag nightmares LOL. I think someone was it Kelly said that my kid spilled milk in the car. That's the worst, especially in the summertime. They turn into a punching bag. Like, there's a lot of different random things, but I just want to say the people who were kind enough to share some of their thoughts. I talked about co-sleeping, paying for toys. Jorge says, like, I don't want to go to the potty will always win, especially when you're training them and like you go somewhere like, all right, before I go to the store or before we go to the library or school, whatever the case may be, go to the bathroom. I don't need to go. Put them in the car, 5 minutes on the road. I got to go to the bathroom.
Oh, we just did that. Like, I just had this when we flew home. We were in Colorado for spring break. We get to the airport. We got there so early because we were worried about traffic. We had 2.5 hours to kill at the airport. My son won't go. He comes to the bathroom with me 2 times, like maybe 2 hours before, and then like 15 minutes before, in the bathroom with me, hands in his pockets, to finally standing 3 feet from the kids' urinal. We're in the plane. They're taxiing, seatbelts on. Daddy, I have to go. And it's not even a cliche. It's like, dude, you were standing next to a little kid's urinal 20 minutes ago, and you were holding your junk, and you wouldn't go. And now I can't take you.
I took my daughters to see a movie. I think it was the Lego 2 movie, whatever the case may be, a recent movie. And I said to them, all right, before we go to the movie theater, we have to go to the bathroom in here because I like the home field advantage, especially when I have 2 daughters. No? All right. We get to the movie theater. It's a family bathroom. Anybody need to go to the bathroom before the movie starts? We got there half hour so we can, like, you know, get the popcorn and all that stuff. No, I'm good. Sit down. The trailer starts. The trailers start up. Dad, I gotta go to the bathroom. Like, are you kidding me?
It's frustrating.
Kobe says earlier when I made the post earlier on Facebook, he said I made a mess, very similar to what you were talking about. And then Ross Jenkins, just for the heck of it, says I had to do a bracket for work. I picked Florida State. Fight me.
Nice.
I'm gonna put that in there. I like that.
Very cool.
All right. You guys had great insight, great answers. If you want to have a chance to win Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, just email me art@lifeofdad.com. I'm going to choose a random winner. So it doesn't have to be the first person. Just email me and I'll get that hookup for you. And speaking of the hookup, hook us up. Life of Dad book, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Amazon. Pre-order comes out May 7th. And John, what else we got?
Yeah, so this is going to be really cool. Art and I have been talking about a way to kind of we love the involvement. We probably have. I won't list anybody specific, but we have, you know, so many people, Kelly and Rand and Kingbird and all these guys who have been coming in and watching our show all the time and enjoying our stuff and commenting, and it's awesome. And so what we wanted to do is kind of set up something that helps us because obviously we want to make sure we get, you know, book sales in, and we also want to have you guys be more a part of the show. So what you guys can do, if you, we'd love it if you do. If you go on Amazon, the book is 20% off right now. It's about $13. See you, Rand. Go on. If you buy the book and send us a screenshot, you can send it to Art or me on Twitter @Jon_Finkel or Art @ArtEddy3. We will have a quick little raffle, and we will have you guys on the show. We'll have you on this show, Life of Dad, Lunchbox, Lunch Edition. We'll have you on. We can talk about our topic that we have or a topic of your choice.
Yeah, if you have a topic of choice, you can be like the producer and guest host for the show. How awesome would that be? When you guys
be great. So we will
on the show. Be on the show with us.
Come on the show. So buy the book. Send us a screenshot. We will also send you one of these cool Dad VIP passes that our publisher Simon & Schuster made for us. So a whole lot of prizes. So of everybody who sends it in, we'll do a quick raffle. We'll have as many of you on as the weeks come up as we can. And we'll also send everybody who does send a screenshot one of these really cool Life of Dad VIP book passes. So We'd love it. Send us your screenshots. Go on Amazon right now, 20% off. Help us get that ranking. We're in this together. Year of the Dad. Let's get that #1 New York Times bestseller, guys. We need your help.
I think it'd be John and I would love to have you guys on the show. And maybe also, too, here's a caveat. If some people don't like speaking live in front of the camera, heck, we can have you on the Life of Dad show, the podcast that John and I do. So definitely do that. Feel free to do that. We'd love to have you on there. And then
Clay said he's not on Twitter. All right, so feel free to email art@lifeofdad.com. Send you your screenshot there. We'll take care of the rest, buddy.
And we'll talk. And if Kelly wins, we'll all talk about spilled milk and how dads can actually cry over spilled milk. For John and myself, you guys, as always, bring it. We appreciate it. We'll see you next Monday. Also, too, enjoy March Madness. If some of you might be getting the old vasectomy, especially with the frozen bag of peas, sit down and enjoy the madness and the
sleeper pick for me. Houston champion.
Houston for him. I'm going with UNC. But all right. Everybody, again, thanks for checking out the show. If you want to win the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse Blu-ray and DVD, email me, art@lifeofdad.com. I'll choose a winner at random and buy the book. Thanks again. We'll see you all
put the link in there, too. See you guys.